Today on episode 42, our Jackie Robinson podcast of Typical Chicago Fans presented by The Loop Sports, we have Sinkers and Floaters, the wild world of the NBA offseason, a loaded diamond talk on the Cubs and Sox with two special guest interviews, and TCF predicts the MLB Playoffs. Let's roll.
One of the sponsors of today's podcast is SeatGeek. SeatGeek is a ticket search engine that never loses the sight of the fan experience. Simply go to their website, type in the name of a team, and choose the date you are looking to attend. SeatGeek will then present you with a graphic chart of the stadium where you can then choose your seats and tickets based on a score system that determines the best value. If you've never used SeatGeek before, we partner with them to give you a great deal. Apply the coupon code TheLoopSports in all caps at checkout to take $20 off of your first purchase with SeatGeek. A $50 night for two at the ballpark becomes just $30, or a $23 trip by yourself turns into just $3 with the coupon code TheLoopSports in all caps. You have no excuse not to go out and root on your favorite team. Just to apply the coupon code TheLoopSports in all caps. Again, that is TheLoopSports in all caps at checkout, and have a great time on us. Thank you to SeatGeek for partnering with us here at The Loop Sports and Typical Chicago Fans. Hello and welcome to episode 42 of Typical Chicago Fans, presented by The Loop Sports. I am Zach Lilia. You can follow me on Twitter at Lilia, LILJATCF, or if you're watching our YouTube page, you can look right above my head. And as we were recording, we started to put this in. On Twitter, you can also follow the Typical Chicago Fans main page at Typical_Chicago, or The Loop Sports at The Loop_Sports. But like I said, if you're on the YouTube page, we have it right here in the middle. Right coming at you here. We getting a little bit smart. We're gonna maybe start putting.
Smart's a dangerous word.
Yeah, smart's dangerous. Where we're gonna maybe put some logos, some stuff in here. We're gonna be working more with that going forward. But also on Instagram, Typical Chicago Fans and The Loop Sports. Go on there. The Loop Sports got some great content coming out on their Instagram and Facebook. We do a weekday show, which maybe will be coming at you from a cool place this upcoming week. At the end of the episode, it'll be coming from somewhere special. It will not be in the content cave. We're going a little bit of a trip here. That's on Typical Chicago Fans Facebook, or The Loop Sports on Facebook, usually sharing it, and they always have their blogs on there.
Make sure you follow me on Twitter at BoomyTCF. If you're an Apple user, you can find us on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. If you're not an Apple user, we are on Spotify, so make sure you head there, click the follow button, and you can download all the episodes, take them with you wherever you want. And also, like Zach said, head over to the YouTube page. We put all the weekly videos up there, and Zach's been going crazy with cutting videos up and putting little different segments. I keep hounding him about putting, the candy reviews and different segments up on there. So we're working on different playlists and stuff. So make sure you head over to YouTube, type in Typical Chicago Fans, and subscribe to the page there.
Yes. Like I said, we got a little bit of announcement. We'll be coming at you. Maybe we'll get before the first interview. We'll tell you what we're going to be doing coming up here. We're going on a little bit of a TCF road trip. We got some vacation going on here, so we're going to turn it into content. We're going to have some fun with that. But let's get right into it, Sinkers and wait, before I get into that, we have a big episode this week.
Huge episode.
We have Nick Petro, the boss man, coming on himself on the podcast, talking Sox, what he thinks second half, or if you want to say after the All-Star break. We get into that also. We get into a little bit of a dentist talk with him, too.
We did.
And then we got Frederic coming up here, which we will talk with Frederic tonight.
One of probably my favorite reoccurring guests.
Yes. This will be his third time, I think, on the podcast.
Third or fourth.
So we'll have our guy Frederic on here. We're doing that interview later tonight. We're going to be doing it after the Cubs game.
Yep.
So we will. That'll be an exciting. We got a humongous episode.
It's a great word.
Of Typical Chicago Fans coming at you here. Like I said, Jackie Robinson episode. Yeah. We do the numbers. We were also thinking if we keep going with this a lot longer, like into the hundreds, 200s, we were going to have to stop doing it. Or maybe we'll find, I think in the truck series, those truck races, they have like 100. We'll start doing
picking races.
We'll start picking races. That just came to my head.
That's genius.
That's on the fly there.
I like that.
So we'll start doing that. But I'll get into my sinker and floaters real quick.
Alrighty.
My first sinker is the USA men's soccer team, which who lost to Mexico.
Do we still have a men's soccer team?
We do.
Oh, all I care about is the women.
They lost at Soldier Field the same night the women had just won their second World Cup straight, 4th overall, and they lost. I mean, there were some controversial calls here and there, but it was a tough loss. It would have been nice, especially on American soil at Soldier Field, especially after maybe you could. It would be a great day for American soccer if USA could have won the Gold Cup, but nope, they couldn't. The women are just taking over. They're so dominant, and they're taking this spot. They're taking this spotlight perfectly too. I love the Megan Rapinoe when she does all this stuff, and it's really cool. Yeah, what?
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, I just love it all, and they are really taking over the soccer community. Women's soccer, the USA women's soccer, and it's beautiful to see, and it's just kind of something that will give the men's soccer the little bit of a kick in the ass that they need, not making the last World Cup and struggling. I mean, they got to the championship of the Gold Cup. Yes, I do understand that, but it would have been nice to win it. I did think that was maybe a controversial call. I think that should have been a foul, not a foul.
Yeah, when the guy grabbed him by the throat.
Yeah, that's a little crazy. But still, you got to get that W, and they did not. So the men's soccer team is my sinker.
I like that. My sinker,
USA.
And we're going to kind of get into this in our conversation with Nick, but my sinker is my mouth. That's controversial. Yeah, it's controversial, but
that's controversial.
My mouth is a sinker right now because I have my fourth of 6 dentist appointments this month tomorrow. I had a root canal on Tuesday, had a cap put on yesterday. I've got 3 cavity fillings and I have to have the permanent cap put on. The shit's not cheap either. Like, even I have dental insurance and it's still not cheap. And let's just be honest, it kind of sucks. Like, I just don't enjoy it. And I literally have to eat on the right side of my mouth until the 29th, so I have 2 weeks till I can eat on the left side of my mouth. But yeah, my mouth right now is not in a good spot.
I know you're not in a good spot, but that's funny to say. Your mouth is under construction right now.
It is.
That's what happens.
I'm just going to get dentures, dude. I'm tired of this.
That should be like a PSA for everyone. Go to the dentist. Don't wait 10 years, and then you don't have to go 6 different times. We get into
it's not a terrible idea. You go 10 years without it, and then you only have to go, you take 1 month and you just knock them all out.
Or you could just go every, year and maybe not have that problem ever. But we get in a little bit of a dentist talk. We figure out that between the two of you, we have about 10 dentist appointments between the two of you. That's unreal. And it gets a little real there. Nick's not happy with his dentist.
No, he wasn't. He is now.
He is now. He's got a new guy, so he's good to go there. But my floater is one Mason Ramsey.
The
Yodel boy turned rapper. It looks like he is on a song with Lil Nas X, Billy Ray Cyrus, and Young Thug. He kills
banger.
it. I listened to the song real quick the night it came out, and I did not realize. I knew Young Thug was going to be on it, but I did not know Mason Ramsey was going to be on it. And I think that it was awesome. It was a great spot for him to come on too, because no one knew he was going to be on there, and it was a hit.
Yes.
He spoke about 30 words probably.
Yeah.
If maybe less.
If that.
And spit the song, maybe the verse of the summer.
Yeah, no, it was. I'm a big fan of that song, but with him on there, it just made it so much better.
They say it's gonna be the last remix. That song will be remixed for the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah,
so, that's not the last time. But I mean, if this guy can just keep remixing this song with different people and just keep making it the #1 song on the charts, more power to you.
Yeah.
I think
he's hilarious on Twitter too.
Yes,
he is a funny guy.
He's funny,
on Twitter.
and I just think that and then he's Mason Ramsey is tweeting out stuff that Young Thug would tweet out and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my god! And then the video he has, it's unbelievable. He's singing a song and he's giddy up and get up on my razor and Well, Mason Ramsey, he is a
What a guy.
superstar in the making. He's a superstar.
Yeah.
He's already a superstar.
Hard to argue that. My floater is kind of hits home with both of us, is the Als Bella Vista softball team in LaSalle, Illinois. Me and Zach both play. Recurring guest, my brother Trey, is also on the team. But we had a rough start in June. We went 0-4, I think, in the first month of the season. But we bounced back. We got our first win the other night.
Oh, yeah.
10 run, I think 17-7 might have been the final, or 18-8, something like that. I've been pretty stellar on the mound. I'm going to go ahead and pat myself on the back. I usually get at least one swinging strikeout a game.
Can you get both your arms patting your back? Because that's what it sounds like right now.
I mean, I'll take it. But yeah, it was really fun.
You gave it, so you're gonna have to take it.
Yeah, exactly. But no, we finally started hitting the ball, and we're back in the win column, and we got free beer out of it. So
yeah, shout out Al Bella Vista's the bar.
Yeah,
it's a bar restaurant.
Bar and grill.
We're gonna have to go eat there some night too, because it's a nice little place to eat too.
Oh, we're going Wednesday.
There's like a back room there too. Yeah, it was a beautiful time there. After a W, nothing better to go into some
free cold beers,
some great beer by a great place. Shout out to that's a sponsor.
Yeah,
not a sponsor of this podcast, but technically
sponsor of us.
Sponsor of us. So shout out Al Bella Vista in LaSalle.
Yep,
LaSalle. So yeah, let's get into. You want to get into some NBA talk?
Yeah,
here?
Man, this has been the crazy.
It's been crazy. Like I said, we're not going to really get into too much Cubs talk here because we got our guys Nick, Petro on, and we got Frederic on here to talk Cubs Sox. Second half of the year, expectations. Hopefully, the Cubs will be coming off a sweep here of the Pirates. They got, while we're recording this, let's just say they got a good lead. Hopefully, they don't blow it, because if they do, you're going to get a bad reaction from me.
Oh, yeah.
We were just talking about that. Our reaction videos are some of the best videos we have. So I think that we're going to keep doing that. I think that's a fun thing to do, is some reaction of us, because I usually don't keep my head. Boomy usually does.
I try to be level.
If he doesn't, then that's when the video is going to be. That's when it's I think Bears-Packers is when that's going to be coming to the forefront, because that's when the real emotion will be coming out. Speaking of the Bears, I think, what did I have it on here? July 26th, they report to camp, and 27th, they start practicing.
Yep.
So that's, 13 days from now they start practicing, a little bit under 2 weeks. So that's exciting. I think what did you say? The Packers?
I think
they're
no one cares. Thursday. I don't know. You can try and draw me out, but the Packers are going to open up camp.
Wait.
I want to say like the 25th. Yeah.
Speaking of the Packers here, if you have stock in the Packers, I am sorry for you. 2017, Packers profit by year reported on March 31st annually. $75 million 2017, $34.1 million 2018, $724,000.
Yeah, no shit, dummy. That's what happens when you have. That's what happens when you give a guy $100 million contract. That's how economics works.
Insane.
That's what happens when you pay good players.
You hate to see it.
Yeah, we hate to see it when we start 1-0 on your field.
Doesn't even take gifts from his family, and now he's taking money away from his supposed football family. So that's about that.
Win a playoff game and we'll talk.
Oh, we'll see. That is going to be exciting, though. Football is right around the corner here. We're going to have playoffs, hopefully,
college football too.
Hopefully for the North Siders here going in, and we'll also have some football going in there too. So that'll be nice.
It's a good time for gambling. Great time for gambling.
Good time to lose all my money.
Yeah.
Let's get into we had the Bulls. They ended Summer League yesterday, Saturday. Mm-hmm. It was their last game. I think they made like a consolation, whatever. Yeah. They didn't make the thing itself. It doesn't really matter. Kobe White looked all right.
Can't hit a
shot. He ended 15 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, 4.8 assists. His shooting, his 3-point shot's not there.
No, and it's something like we have to remember that he is 19 years old.
Yeah, he's 19.
He's young. He's going to develop that shot.
This isn't really why I brought it up. I wanted to bring it up because our second-round pick, Daniel Ghafir, looked awesome around the rim. A monster around the rim, had a bunch of putback dunks, alley-oops.
He can go up
and get it. So that's looking like a guy, like you said, you got him because he was athletic.
Yes.
And that's going to turn out.
He plays above the rim, which
if
is
you're
a guy
athletic
you like
and you understand basketball, you can make it work in the NBA. And I know, yes, it's only a summer league. I think his average 13.8 points a game, 9 rebounds. He had 14 points, 3 rebounds, 3 blocks in the last game. It's nice to see that a later round pick is looking like I said. You're not really expecting to be the best player on the team. You're looking for him to be like not I would hope he can be a little better than Taj Gibson.
Yeah.
But Taj Gibson, he's around the rim. He goes up and gets that ball, and he can come off the bench and maybe
defense,
help Wendell
yeah.
Carter later in the later quarters of games in the later part of the year. So I think it's starting to look good for him. And I think the Bulls should be really happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely, trending in the right direction.
Why he's going to be out there. He's going to be competitive. He's going to be bringing the ball up. He's going to be fast. He's going to be. That's what the Bulls need are some fast break playmakers, and that's what they've really been missing, and that's what this kid brings to it.
Let him
and
develop
then, like I said,
and get up and down the court, and let him develop that shot. So in a couple years, he can be a consistent 3-point shooter.
And then Ghafir
and let's see what happens.
Get the rebound, throw it out to them.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what the
go.
Bulls have been kind of missing. I know I like Robin Lopez, but he's not really a fast break maker.
Right.
And
never has been.
And that's not really his thing. And what you got to respect about Robin Lopez, I was just thinking about this, is what he did last year. I mean, he worked his ass off for a team that he knew wasn't going to be very good. And now he gets to go play with his brother in Milwaukee. He gets to go to a very good team.
For sure.
That would be nice. So,
but let's talk about that, man. Like, who do you think right now is the best team on paper going into the NBA season? This is what's beautiful.
I saw
a guy,
David Wildman. He put a good one up on Twitter. I retweeted it. It was who has the best roster
Did you
right
vote
now.
on that?
I voted on it. I think I said the Clippers.
I took the Lakers,
but
it
is
a
good
very good
talk
argument.
because on paper you look at it. Yes, they have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and they got Lou Will, they got Patrick Beverly, but overall, and then on the other side, the Lakers have LeBron James, Anthony Davis. Who else have they brought in?
DeMarcus Cousins.
Let me hear your favorite
Rondo,
team. They've already had Rajon.
Well, he came. They signed him back to the team. They still have Kuzma. They've made a bunch of, like, to me, they almost seem like random moves, but like they're filling out a roster, and that's what the biggest. Like, I think on paper right now, top 10 guys on the roster, I think the Lakers are better than the Clippers, but we'll see on how some of those guys develop.
What do you think about the Westbrook going to Houston?
That's another one,
Does that
man.
make them a top 3 team in the West?
Not this year. I think so. To me, it's interesting to look at because of the fact that, yes, Russ and James Harden played together, but let's not forget that was like 9 years ago, right?
And James Harden is a totally different
and
player.
Russ is a different player right now, right?
James
from
Harden
what
has been the leader for so many years since he's left Oklahoma City. It's a totally different player, and they understand, yes, you have a good relationship with people, but that doesn't mean the on-the-court going to work.
I think it's going to be kind of like the Heat in the first year. It's going to take them a little bit of time to get acclimated to each other. They might not be good enough to get through the Western Conference this year, but I think because I think Russ has 4 years left on that deal, and Harden's going to be there forever. Let those guys develop that relationship back again. Let Clint Capella, I think PJ Tucker's going to start at the 4, and kind of let those guys develop that relationship back together, and I think they're going to be a force out there.
My thing is with that is the NBA is so reactionary. Like it's quick, and I feel like maybe if it doesn't work the first year, it could happen to break some things up there, or maybe it fuels it, but you just never know because this NBA, if something bad happens, you are going to try and do a different direction real quick.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying what you said is wrong, but I'm afraid that they won't even get to this.
Well, right now, I don't think there's any way that's going to happen because Russell Westbrook's contract,
no,
you
I don't
can't
mean,
move
I
away
just
from
mean
that.
the whole, like, maybe things are going to have to move real quick. Who knows who's going to be all there? But yeah,
but also
right,
like with Steph, I'm sorry, not Steph, with Klay Thompson being out a lot, like this is the year for those teams in the West to try and attack and try and get to an NBA Finals because, you know, losing Kevin Durant is huge for the Warriors and then losing DeMarcus Cousins, but at the end of the day, when they're back all healthy, they're still going to have Steph Curry, they're going to have Klay Thompson, they're going to have Draymond. Like that's a 3 real big-headed monster out there, so you got to take advantage of it this year. And I think that's why you see the Lakers going out and signing those veterans and adding those guys because I think a lot of teams think, well, yes, we want to compete in the future, but now in the West especially might be our time to strike right now.
We've talked a lot about Kawhi Leonard and all those other moves. I want to know, do you think Chris Paul will play a game for the Thunder?
No. I don't think he will.
I don't know if he'll get bought out and maybe he'll end up in Miami is what I've heard. But I don't think I think he may play. Who knows? It could be a spot for him. He may like it there. There's not too much pressure there at the moment. Also, what do you think of how many draft picks the Thunder had between 2020 and 2026?
It's like 14 draft
14 picks. I was looking it up. It confused me how it all, like, similar to Clippers.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was all over the place.
It's insane.
There's a lot of stipulations on most of them,
right?
Where it's going to be. A lot of them are protected. But they, going forward, are going to have a lot of assets.
Yeah.
They're going to have a lot of chances to take a chance on a player. I mean, if you had 3 picks in the first round, might as well go after best players available at
or
least
even
one of the
thinking
3
about
spots.
the packages you can create for guys in trade bait. You know, like,
I mean, you can take a Chris Paul and one of these 2 draft picks and go out and get a good player.
Yeah.
And then go out and get some other player, because I'm not the biggest Chris Paul fan in general, but I think you cannot rely on him to be the leader on your team anymore. He's getting older.
Well, especially what they have around. They have nothing
last
around
year, I mean,
him
you
now.
could see it last year at the end of the season. He kind of fizzled out at the end of the season. He's not going to be able to go out there and play crazy amount of minutes. I mean, he has.
Yeah, he is an aging veteran.
He has a hamstring injury, I think, at least every single year at some point.
I mean, he's probably 34 right now.
He's got to be up
33.
there. So I mean, either way, I think the Thunder are in a good spot.
Yes,
I'm not saying.
I think by the time I'm 35, so I'm 28 right now. I think by the time I'm 35, we're gonna see the Thunder back in the mix in the West.
They did it right. They did it right.
Exactly.
They got rid of Chris Paul. They got rid of Russell Westbrook and Paul George for about as many draft picks as you could possibly get.
Surmount.
So I think, and they knew that wasn't going to be sustainable for the near future. Paul George, I think, was going to want out. Russell Westbrook, well, he did want out at the end of it, but they didn't think he was going to sign for too much longer. Did he just sign a contract with them?
It was last summer, remember?
Well, how long was it? Like 3 years?
3 or 4, I think.
But and then Russell Westbrook wanted out, which I think that was a mutual breakup. I don't think there was any bad blood there at all. I did see, though, he got they traded him he had like a comedy thing in Oklahoma City. And
it was
he got
in
traded,
Tulsa,
Yeah, we got right before.
Or
but
Omaha
I think overall that was good trade for
both sides.
Both sides. So I think it's nice to see a trade that works out for both teams, because I mean, the NFL, you might as well.
Never see trades.
I don't get that, though. Why does it never equal out?
Well, they never even trade anybody. No one ever gets traded in the NFL.
But even if somebody gets traded, like Odell Beckham or something like that, you're not getting the value for the guy, and it's just weird. I don't get it.
The NFL is strange. But I also like with Kawhi going to Los Angeles and some of the pieces getting shifted around, like the East is so open. And I think if the Bulls can maximize potential out of their young guys this year, the Bulls could sneak in the playoffs as a 7 or 8 seed. And we talked about it. It doesn't you get nothing out of tanking anymore. So why not try and get in and see what the hell happens?
And we get into this with Nick about the White Sox. You talk whatever about the team, but once the season starts, I'm going to want to watch the Bulls every single night.
I'm going to want the Bulls to win games.
And now that you see where the tanking has gone, this
is going
to be the year where you're going to be like, I don't want to. We don't. Like, you sit there and you go, I want to lose these games because you want this pick. I want to lose these games because I want these. I can't remember how many games I watched last year where I was like, I hope they lose because we get this pick. Hopefully we'll get this pick. Hopefully we get to be like the second or third worst team. And it didn't matter. Now you're going to want to watch every game, and you're going to want to win every game.
Exactly.
And I get we're not the biggest fans of Jim Boylan, but I really don't care anymore.
Yeah, we're stuck with him.
We're stuck with him, and I think this team is going to be exciting. I think it's going to be fun to watch and maybe make some moves throughout the season. And you never know. This East is wide open.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Leonard leaving this East is wide open.
The Magic were the 8 seed last year. Yeah. Like, come on. Like, the Bulls can easily make that jump this year and be a 40. You can make it in the playoffs with 40 wins this year.
The Clippers are good. The Lakers are good. The Rockets are good, but there's no team like the Warriors went into last year where you're like, well, it's going to be whoever versus the Warriors, and the Warriors are probably going to win.
Well, last year, remember, it was like, who's the best team in the West? Everybody and their mother knew it's the Warriors. Right now, go down the street and ask anybody, hey, who's the best team in the NBA West? You're going to get 5 different answers.
They got Portland out there.
Denver's getting some good odds.
Got Hassan Whiteside. I think that's going pretty under the radar.
Yeah.
They got a very good big man. I like Myers Leonard, local guy. We saw
Denver's
him play state basketball, but they just traded Myers Leonard and I think somebody else for Hassan Whiteside, who is a monster around the rim and can finish around the rim. He can't shoot. I mean, Myers Leonard could shoot pretty well, but that's not what they want in their big man. And so I think it's going to be a good race. And
I'm looking at it right now. Denver and the Golden State Warriors have the exact same odds to win an NBA championship.
Yeah, so
that's insane.
It's gonna be exciting. NBA season is going to be exciting for once. It's going to be all competitive. I'm never saying that last year wasn't exciting.
The parity is now there.
There isn't like a crazy dominant team.
Yes.
And even with the Brooklyn, I mean, they're going to have Kyrie this year and not have KD till next year. Even when they have KD, it's still going to be competitive. It's not like that's going to be super stacked.
Definitely.
But you want to know? Let's get into our first interview here with Nick Petro. It's at Petro TLS. Like I said, we get into
Petro, like the oil company.
Yeah, like the oil company. Yeah, we get into Sox talk, a little dental talk, a little talk about something that's coming out new with the Loop Sports. I think the chalk is going back is to the Loop Sports. You gotta go check out. He's on the Money Line, which is the chalk. It's the Money Line podcast and the Three Alphas podcast, who is produced by a good-looking guy I know.
Wait, they got someone new to do it?
They got a guy to produce the podcast. He's good-looking, handsome, beautiful.
Must
man.
not be the same guy I thought.
Yeah, it's a good-looking guy. I mean,
sure.
He's lost a lot of weight, it looks like. It's me. Oh, it's me. It's me. But, yeah, go check those out. They're great podcasts, too. I get to listen to them while I'm editing them up. Great podcast by those guys. Matt Schofield is on the Moneyline podcast with him, our guy over at the Chalk too. And sometimes P. Goy goes on that podcast, not on our podcast.
Not on ours.
Not on ours, huh? But yeah.
Yeah, let's kick it to a here it is, guys.
We just kind of turned that into a Where you at, P. Goy? But yeah, let's kick it over to our guy Nick Petro. A great conversation here with our guy, the boss man.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome on a very special guest to the podcast. He's actually our boss. He's the editor-in-chief at the Loop Sports, runs all the gambling and fantasy tips for the Chalk TLS, and he's a co-host on the Money Line and Three Alphas podcast here on the Loop Sports Network. He was recently on 670 The Score with a former guest of ours, Herb Lawrence, to discuss the Southsiders. He's a diehard White Sox fan, but we like him anyway. You can find him on Twitter at PetroTLS. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Petro. Nick, how we doing today, buddy?
That was a long-ass intro. I love it, though.
Hey, man, you gotta give the guest something good, right?
Right. Yeah, no, I loved it. Yeah, just been sitting out by the pool today getting stuff on the back end of the site. I don't know if I told you guys yet, but we are moving the Chalk back to the Loop Sports, so there will be a section on the Loop Sports with gambling and sports betting and fantasy sports content. First thing drops tomorrow morning, I believe, which is my quarterback rankings, fantasy football for the month of July. We'll do rankings in August, September, about the entire weeks of the NFL season. So other than that, just chilling, man. Just did some back-end work done with my computer outside, jumping in the pool with the lady. What have you guys been up to?
Man, not a whole lot. My air conditioning here at the house went down, so we're just hanging out in the basement trying to stay nice and cool.
Oh, man. That's rough.
It's been we got to get it fixed before. It's supposed to be hot next week, so we got to get this taken care of. But we're just posted up watching the Cubs game and, just relaxing. That's all we can do. I had a dentist appointment this morning, so I'm not feeling too great.
I also hurt my back, so.
Yeah.
We're getting old, man.
Yeah, getting old, playing too much slow-pitch softball.
I fucking hate the dentist. I hate the dentist more than any other person, ever.
Dude, I have 6 appointments this month, so.
Well, tell them why.
What the?
Well, I didn't go to the dentist office for 10 years. I think I went a solid. Since I graduated high school, I didn't go to the dentist. Other than I chipped I have a fake tooth and it fell out. Other than that, to get that fixed, I haven't been to a dentist in 10 years. So I'm kind of paying for it now.
Similar story here. I hated my childhood dentist. My entire family goes there, aunts, uncles, brothers, dads, whoever. And I hated this guy. He's just very condescending. So the last time I went to him was junior year at college. I go there, the dental hygienist lady or whatever, whoever cleans your teeth and looks at them too before. She's like, "Oh, they look great. You're a great brusher, top 10%." Blah blah blah. He comes in, he's like, "You brush too hard."
What a jerk!
You have your wisdom teeth. Yeah, it's just total dick. And I was like, "What?" I was like, "This nice lady just told me my teeth were great, and now you're coming in." He's like, nitpicking everything. He's like, "You grind your teeth too much." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "I don't know. I grind my teeth. I'm sleeping."
Right, so, exactly.
Anyway,
I had the same thing. I always they get mad. They're like, "Oh, you're grinding your teeth every down." I'm like, "What do you want?" I'm not. They want you in a mouth guard. I'm not wearing a mouth guard while I'm sleeping.
So I tried it, and then, so I'll get into that really quickly. So I go to this new dentist. My dad left the family dentist because he got fed up as well. So we're both at a new dentist now. The guy actually knows what he's talking about. He's like, you shouldn't be wearing a mouth guard because your teeth are going to slide, and it's going to do the same thing.
Oh.
They gave me like this retainer thing. It's not terrible. It's like almost an Invisalign type thing. You don't even know it's there. It's not bulky like a sports mouth guard or something like that, which my original dentist had. Long story short, I'm seeing a good dentist. Still had like 4 appointments this week. He only takes me once. I got one of my wisdom teeth because it actually came in and it's kind of fucking with my gum.
Oh.
But so I trust him. That's gonna suck though. But yeah, I feel you on the dentist hit. I hate dentists.
Yeah.
So out of the 3 of us here, we have about 10 dentist appointments scheduled in the next few weeks.
It's not good. Not a good dental situation at the Loop Sports.
Well, let's get into some good talk here. The Sox. What are your expectations after the All-Star break? I'm getting a lot of chirp from it's not the second half. The second half already started before the All-Star break. So what are your expectations for the Sox here going after the All-Star break?
First of all, I hate those people who are all, I'm still going to play 90-some games. Like, shut the fuck up. We know what it is. We know what it is. It's the second half. Literally, they had a break, and they had time to think about it, and now it's second half. Now they got their minds right for the second half. I don't know. I don't know if they'll be able. I don't think they'll be as good as they were in the first half. At least not the start. The rotation sucks. You kind of saw that with the Nova. And Lopez I've been saying this for a while, he's a bullpen guy.
Yeah.
He was awful today already. Looking at scoring, it's like 8-1, 8-0, something like that.
Yeah.
But they're not. My expectations aren't high. The only good thing is we play the AL Central a lot, and they've really beaten up the AL Central. So I'm going to enjoy those games. Those are the games where I really want them to win. So Monday, if we win the game tomorrow, then sweep the Royals, then it's like, oh, they're back at 500. So I don't know. I think it's just up and down. They'll lose a couple, win a couple, hover around 2 to 3 games under 500. My expectations are, I don't know, if Luis Robert keeps playing like he's playing, maybe we see him in September, because then you don't have to worry about using too many games to where you're not able to sit him next year when he starts and things like that. I don't know. But, yeah, I'm going to go to a bunch of seats, and Giolito starts in the second half, and Tim Anderson comes back as well. So I'm just planning to watch this team have fun. That's my expectations. I don't have any. I hope they trade Abreu, Colomé. I would keep Bummer or Colomé, whichever one you want to keep. It really doesn't matter. I heard the Dodgers were interested in both, so hopefully we can get a good return for them. But literally not too much. I just hope they trade some assets or get rid of Giovanni Nova of the world. I think we should be able to trade Nova to like a National League team. I mean, right. Give him the praise. He can, in the playoffs, he can make the Cubs look silly.
Do you think that Luis will be on the Major League roster by the end of the season?
It's so tough to say. And so I'd really have to look into, like, I would think he could play, like, 2 weeks and be fine, and they would, like, he wouldn't lose a year of control. As long as he doesn't lose a year of control, or if they think he's going to be that good, I think they're going to sign him to an extension even sooner rather than later, and then it doesn't really matter. I think they're going to make that same approach that they did with Eloy. They'll get some of the discount. They'll have control for him. I think they have control of Eloy for, like, 7 more years after this one. So if they can do that, then yes. If not, then you leave him down. But he's tearing it off right now, and I don't think he's going to slow down.
I think it's a good thing with the way that they're handling their prospects. I've really enjoyed seeing that, even as a Cubs fan, and I've talked about it a million times over. I still, when the Cubs aren't playing the Sox, like I still watch and am interested in the Sox games. Is it hard as a fan to watch, your team, but know that the real guys are still sitting in the minor leagues and that you have to kind of go out of your way to keep track of how those guys are? How is that as a fan for you?
So the last 2 years, yes, it was awful. I'll just be honest with you. Because once the season starts, my fandom takes over. I want them to win every game. I watch almost every game. I talked about when I went on with Herb Lawrence of 6-7 score. I literally watch almost every game. I'm like you guys with the Cubs. Like, I love baseball. Can't get enough.
Yep.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough going to games and explaining to my girlfriend, like, I know what you're watching on the field is awful.
Yeah.
So, like, it's going to be worth it. And then this year we go to games and she's excited, knows the players. She's like, these guys are actually good. I was like, yes, they are actually good. Like, the first time in year, like, I can't even remember. And it's like, wow, there are some special players on this roster. I've seen some special plays this year. It's exciting. But, yeah, it still sucks that Robert's in the minors. We're watching John Jay in the outfield. And I don't mind Leury Garcia actually having a decent year, so I'm not going to shit talk him. But it's like you put Robert in center, and then you get a right fielder in the offseason, not named John Jay. No offense to John Jay.
Yeah, exactly.
But get, hopefully we can get something for him, or just DFA guys. If you have to, let some of the AAA guys who are doing well, maybe the 26, 27-year-olds who don't, never had a shot in the big leagues, give them a shot, see if they're anything. That's kind of how they found Ryan Cordell last year, and he's actually played some important situations this year. So he could be a good fourth, fifth outfielder, when they get good. So things like that's how you find, different kind of players. But right now it's not too hard, man. I think most of the talent's up. Just give maybe a pitcher or two. Cease is up, so once Kopech gets back to being healthy, I think the next year top of the line of the rotation is Giolito, Kopech, and Cease. So that's going to be nice. But no, not too bad anymore. But the last 2 years before, it was terrible. I mean, I'm sure you guys know how.
Kind of like us in 2012 and 13. Those were brutal years.
I feel like this year for the Sox I don't know if they'll make the leap they made in 2015 from 14 to 15, like making it to the NLCS or ALCS, but I feel like this is our 2014. Hovering around 500. I don't know if the Cubs weren't even hovering around 500. But they're hovering around 500. All of a sudden, you're going to get, like Brian got called up at 15. I think Robert will get called up, and that'll be a big move. They'll make some good moves this offseason. Maybe get a Garrett Cole. That's my dream for each. I don't know if they'll spend that much. I'm okay with even like a Cole Hamels or some kind of veteran that can win you games and can be good and has playoff experience for the younger guys.
Definitely. Are we going to see Nick Madrigal at all this year?
That's another tough one. If he gets called up to the AAA in the next 2 weeks, it's possible. But I think that's another. I think Madrigal he would probably be maybe in June next year, almost like a Gordon Beckham, Tim Anderson call up.
Yeah.
Early June, if they're really struggling with whoever they signed, and they're not doing too good. Like I don't know the free agent market that well for second baseman.
Right.
But I don't think it's very good. I think Zoe will still be out there, but I think he's old, and who knows if he wants to play anymore anyway. So that'll be interesting to see. I could also see him making a trade with like the Cubs for Ian Happ or something like that.
Yeah.
I love that.
He's been playing well too lately. That doesn't hurt, his stock anyway.
So, like we need that player like that who can play everywhere. And Yomer can, don't get me wrong, but it's just not good.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you there at all. What about
give me a David Bodie, give me Ben Zobrist, someone like that.
Utility, like a true utility guy is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. One other name that I have come across, and obviously like kind of slowly following the Sox, Luis Basabe, is he doing anything for the Sox in the minor leagues right now? I remember him being a big name.
He's a big name, played in the Future game last year, 2 home runs. He's going to be good. It's just a matter of when and if he can stay healthy. He had a Tommy John last year.
Oh, that's right.
Shoulder. Yeah, so that limited him. And this year he was out for like the last 2 weeks, but he's back, which is great news. But he's someone, if he can put together half or a full minor league season, he'll get caught up. I think he's more 2021.
Oh, okay.
Than anything.
He's really young, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's at that 19, 20.
Yeah, definitely.
If the Sox were willing to maybe go out and make a big play here before the deadline, who are you willing to give up?
Who am I willing to give up? Anyone other than Luis Robert, Nick Madrigal, Dave Dunning, I'd like to keep. That's pretty much it.
What are your thoughts on? I saw Jose Abreu yesterday said that if the Sox don't sign him, he will sign himself back with the Sox, and he's in there for the long run. Could you see a trade and then re-sign him, maybe a little deal between the guys coming up here at the deadline?
So I think Abreu and Ray's team has been in touch with the White Sox, and I think the White Sox have maybe flat out told them, like, listen, if we get an offer we can't refuse, we're going to trade you, but then you can just re-sign here in the offseason. I think they have an understanding with that.
Yeah.
Also, I believe that there's a chance that an extension gets done in season or like the last. I remember when Mark Burley signed his, like on the last day, like I forget what season it was, like 2006 or 7. Like there's a lot of speculation he was going to go to the Cardinals, and they said no, we'll sign you. So I know Rick Hahn is so his head works where they only do extensions in the off season. But I think Abreu could get an in-season extension, especially if he like has another good month or two. just sign the guy in September, and let's just, especially if you don't trade him. But I think I said this on the score. Rick Hahn's not stupid. If the Dodgers go call him and they want to do like an Abreu and like Colony deal, I mean, you can raid their farm system or get like a Jock Peterson back. Not saying they would trade him, but you can get a major league ready player who's ready to contribute.
Wasn't there a time when White Sox fans didn't want Jock Peterson, if I remember right?
Yeah, so a lot of fans didn't
dumb.
want Jock Peterson just because, because his stats aren't pretty. They're like he hits 271, he hits like over 15 homers, been driving a ton of runs, but he's just a flashy player. He's a winner.
Yeah, I like him.
You want him on your team. I don't give a shit about most of baseball. I don't give about the stats. Like I didn't Cubs fans in my mentions every time I retweet or something with like Moncada has a higher batting average. High bias. It's just because I'm just trying. Number one, I'm a biggest Cubs troll on Twitter.
Yes, you are.
Number two, I'm just trying to show people that like, look, Moncada is actually like a lot better than people give him credit for. And then people are like, look at their WAR. And I tweeted something up today that Moncada's F-WAR is higher than. It's right behind Brian.
Yeah,
so he's having a good year. That just shows you how good of a player he is.
He's fun to watch, man. I'm a little envious you guys have. He is a fun baseball player to watch. And, like, it's kind of funny. Last year he struggled, with all the strikeouts and everything. And, like, you get to, like, literally see his progression through the last 365 days. It's been awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's where people forget, like, Bryant, Baez, and Schwarber came up kind of mashed. But at the same time, too, some of these guys, like I remember when Rizzo came up in 14, he was good. He just wasn't 15, 16, 17 even now.
Right.
It takes these guys time, especially the foreign players, so like Eloy and Moncada. They haven't been doing, they're used to going up against different people. And they matched in the minors, but it's the minors. So I think they need a year for adjustment, and then you work out, what you need to work on. Moncada had the most strikeouts looking last year. What did he do? He changed his approach, and guess what? He has the most hits in Major League Baseball early in the count.
Yeah.
That's huge. He's still taking a lot of pitches and swinging at his stuff, but he's not waiting too far in the count and because he has a great eye. It's just he wasn't used to the umpires up here. And those are things that can happen. So it's like the same thing when people shit on Eloy for batting like 250 or whatever he's batting right now. Number one, the guy has like 16 homers, which I think is like second among rookies, second or third. Mm-hmm. And then two, he needs to make adjustments. This is his first season in the big leagues. This is why you bring him up, and I'm glad they did. I'm glad they decided to do the extension. And I think people are saying Eloy's going to be the MVP. I think Robert is going to be the MVP of the team. I think he's going to be the superstar. I think Eloy's going to be a star. Just not. I think. Put this better. I think Robert is like can't miss like one of the best prospects in a long, long time. Like he has potential to be like our Javi Baez, flashy. Does it all. Eloy is like our Chris Ryan, if that makes sense.
I don't mind because, like, you saw Robert. I mean, did in his first game at AAA, he had 2 home runs and a grand slam in the first. Like, that kid's going to be a stud.
His speed, his play in the outfield, like, he's an all-around player. Eloy has some work to do there. He's a phenomenal hitter. But I don't know. I just think he's more one-dimensional, like a Chris Bryant, compared to a Luis Robert, who literally – I mean, they call him La Pantra, which means I think like Jaguar or something. And
that's
I don't
awesome.
know what language it is. Yeah, it's crazy. Like watching him is crazy. I look at him like, God, like damn. Like obviously when you watch Eloy hit too, it's something similar, but I don't know. There's something different about Robert. I think he's going to be the superstar for the time.
Definitely.
After missing out on 2 big free agents and then getting to see them kind of struggle for what they should be doing in the first half of the season, not making the All-Star game, does that kind of make you feel a little good? I know you still want them overall, but it's got to make you feel good that they're struggling in a spot where they pretty much just didn't want to go to the Sox.
Yeah, I'm happy for. I'm really happy about it. I don't know. I talk about this to my uncle all the time. He was against the Bryce Harper, Manny Machado signings. I wasn't. I was like, we need to jumpstart the rebuild. I think they would probably be a little bit more of a contender this year if they landed one of them. But boy, do those contracts look big. Manny Machado's doing well. Harper looks terrible.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, I don't understand signing a player to that much. I'd rather send your own guys. And I'm not going to sit here and be one of the fans like, oh, good, great, I'm so happy we didn't sign him. Because no, you still want him. But I'm glad. I'm not happy we have salary to free up. I would spend that money on a pitcher, and I think this is where the Cubs hit the nail on the head during their rebuild, even Houston. You can buy and sign pitchers.
Yes.
I mean, look at the Mets.
It's so hard to build it.
It's so hard to build it. The Sox got lucky that they've been able to land Kopech, Giolito, and Steve. I'll say that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, next year you look, Garrett Cole, Steven Strasburg. Those are two guys you can throw in the rotation. Or if you want to bring back Jose Quintana and, like, a Cole Hamels, those are two guys to throw at the back of the rotation, too, that can eat innings and win games. That's the point. And if you want your in-the-house guy to be your eighth, sure, you can go that route. But that gives you flexibility and options. I want my John Lester. That's why I want Garrett Cole. He's pitching the playoffs with the Pirates. Got mashed by the Cubs. Sorry, you recall that.
Yes, he did.
Game in 15. Got mashed by the Giants in the year before in 14. And then last year was actually really good for Houston's run to the ALCS. And we'll see what happens this year. I like Houston and the Yankees in the ALCS this year. That's going to be a great series, I think. But I don't know. I keep getting sidetracked. It's really exciting to talk about this team because I don't know what's going to happen, but you know this is the time to make the league. You can feel it. Robert's on the verge. Magical's going to be called up soon to AAA, and then it's like those two guys are like the last two missing pieces because you have Eloy in left, no one in center right now, no one in right, and then you have a second base spot open. Then Anderson at shortstop, Nakata at third, Bradu/Vaughn at first whenever he does get called up, which is another guy who should accelerate through the system. I think Vaughn should be in double, probably high, not high, but double A to finish off the season for sure. He's a monster. But you can buy a DH, not like Yonder Alonso.
Yeah, you don't want to do that again.
You can find a hitter, and I think they're kind of done with the major recruiting process. I mean, and people are taking notice. We got McCann next year at catcher, and then Zach Collins if you still want to keep him up, which I would as your backup, and you can platoon righty lefty, which I love. But yeah, you have your roster filled out. Right field, second base, and then like maybe a versatile guy off the bench. I mean, you can keep a Ryan Cordell around if you want to insert him in the ninth. That's cool with me. But maybe find like a Ben Zobrist type, just a little younger. Maybe not the off the field issues.
Yeah, man, it's got to be fun. I know this is probably you nailed it on the head earlier. Like this was like 2014 for us as Cubs fans. Like you can kind of see those wheels in motion, and you see, the future starting to happen in front of your face. So, do you think before we let you go, do you think the White Sox are going to be in the playoffs next year?
I would say the goal should be the wild card next year. Obviously, you always want to win the division. I need to see the offseason moves. If they're able to land 1 to 2 starters, they sign a free agent to play right field, sign someone to play, second base. I love their chances. I think Cleveland's going to sell off this offseason. They're on a nice little run right now, which I don't think they'll add anyone because they're still listening to offers on Bauer and people. Like, what if the Sox are able to land Trevor Bauer in the offseason? Think about that.
Hey, I'll give you – I play for the White Sox on my player on MLB The Show, and when I got called up in 2020, they signed Trevor Bauer and Jacob deGrom, so maybe that's a good omen for you.
Yeah, hey, there we go. So we'll see what happens, but I do expect them I think next year's the year. If they don't finish with a winning record next year, at least, I'll be disappointed. But I think next year's on 2015. I don't know if they're going to ALCS or anything like that. Still got the Yankees, the Astros, the Red Sox. I'm sure they'll bounce back. In the second half
Twins.
This year. Twins would be good. I don't know how sustainable that is.
Yeah.
It feels like they always have a 1 to 2 year run, and then it's just like nothing. They got a lot of 1 year contracts over there. So we'll see. They just don't have the young talent we have, which is, again, what separates you. But I don't know. I think Cleveland might be able to catch Minnesota this year. But how crazy would it be if Cleveland tells everyone with like a record of like 60 and 41? I mean,
I could see
crazy,
it.
But I think they're not gonna add. They've tried doing that in the past, just didn't work out for them. I think their World Series window is closed, which means the Sox is opening. So yeah, the Twins are good. That'll be an issue. I think the next 4 or 5 years we'll have to battle with them, but. Tigers, Indians, Royals are going to enter a rebuild. The other two are already in it, so I don't see why any reason You can't win more games this year, and I think the American League is going to be a lot worse than it did this year.
Right on. Well, thanks a lot for joining us, man. Make sure you follow Nick on Twitter at Petro TLS, and all of his different projects, man. You're involved in so much with the gambling stuff and the 2 podcasts, so make sure you follow Nick on Twitter. Nick, thanks a lot for joining us today, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Go White Sox.
Yeah. That interview with our boss, Nick, was brought to you by our friends over at 26 Shirts. We're excited to partner with 26 Shirts again for the month of July. 26 Shirts sells cool T-shirts backed by an even cooler mission, helping people in need. Every 2 weeks, they offer an exclusive T-shirt for just $25, and a portion of the proceeds from each sale goes to help a person or a family in need or an organization heavily involved in community outreach. The artist who provides the designs for the shirts receives a percentage, a life is impacted, and you get a limited edition sports-themed T-shirt that will go in the 26 Shirts vault, never to be printed again. And they are really cool T-shirts. You need to go check them out. Because a portion of the proceeds from the sales of these shirts go to help a person in need of serious financial assistance due to overwhelming medical bills. You can read more about this particular cause on the website. Thank you to 26 Shirts for sponsoring the podcast in the month of July. Like I said, go to 26shirts.com/Chicago to order your shirt and help out a worthy cause. Now, are we ready?
We're ready.
The return of the Dom for the third time?
Third or fourth time. Our guy at Dom Frederic. He's been here with us since day one. We love the guy.
Yes.
We always love having him on here. He's one of the best guys I know baseball-wise to talk to. He knows his shit. He blows my mind with some of the stuff that he comes out with. In the middle of he'll be going on a rant sometimes about the Cubs, and he'll just throw out a stat, and I want to be like, hey, what did you just say?
Like,
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he's so much smarter than us.
He's so much smarter than us, and he always – the Cubs have been struggling at the beginning of the year a little bit, but he's always there. He's the director of morale. Yep. Let's kick it over to our guy, Frederic.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome back our most prevalent reoccurring guest to the podcast. He's making his 4th appearance here on TCF more than anybody. He's the director of morale for your Chicago Cubs. You can find him on Twitter at Dom_Frederic. He keeps all of us Cubs fans sane during the grueling 162-game season. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Dom Frederic. Dom, how we doing tonight, my man?
Doing awesome. Thanks for having me on. 4 appearances, wow.
I know. I think it was two last year, and this is the second one this year. So we're going to have to get you a shirt or something.
Yeah, I got to get you guys a shirt.
We'll work on it. We'll talk. We'll get one in the mail for you. So, man, this is great, though, getting to talk to you. Cubs coming off of a big sweep right after the All-Star break. Things are looking up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think came out strong, and deservingly so. We kind of put everyone in their place and told them what's going on, and I think the words he spoke during that White Sox series, I think, or I'm getting games confused, but you know what? He was right. We weren't playing up to our capabilities, and it's a huge month, and with the trade deadline being what it is, if they kept going down, tanking, if you will, then the front office might have had to make a move that they didn't think would happen this year. But a great weekend, solid pitching, and really something you needed to jumpstart this second half. It was huge.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on Alex? I think Alex Mills is coming up Tuesday. Are you excited? Do you think he'll stay up for a little bit? Did you think Alzolay would get another start up here before Mills would, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly thought Bert. I'm calling him Bert because I'm not going, whatever. I'll screw up his name too much. I wish Bert. I wish he got the start on Tuesday. I don't know why. I guess in my opinion, I'm from the school of thought of what are we waiting for?
Yeah.
This is like the prime year, you could say. And I don't think we should be holding anything back. Obviously, there's a reason for it. I would even throw Bert into the bullpen right now. That's how crucial I think this year is, because every year, when you're in a competitive window with an aging pitching staff, you got to take advantage and you got to play your best guys. You got to have the best 25, in the dugout every single day. And I think those guys. I wish he was there on Tuesday. I guess you get Mills. Hopefully he throws a good one and, gets us out of it and gives us some cleaning so we can win that game. But we'll see. I'm interested to see what they do with Burt because depending on what happens with Cole Hamels this offseason, he might be your fifth starter next year. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. I don't know if you re-sign Cole. I know he's been great. The peripherals aren't fantastic considering to where he's pitching production-wise, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully, he gives us a good team on Tuesday.
Definitely. I agree with you. I think that they should stick Adbert and any of those guys. Alec Mills. I mean, put him in the bullpen. And I personally don't understand why we keep bouncing guys. Like, I understand they need more innings, but there's so many guys in the bullpen that are not productive right now. Like, what's it going to hurt to keep those guys up and let them get major league experience as compared to sitting down and playing guys at AAA? Like, they've shown that they're ready, so let's give them more chances. But I mean, I guess my general area of thinking is different than Joe Madden's apparently.
Well, I don't know if it is Joe. I would say it's more Theo, and I'm surprised he's holding off on it. I do think Burt will be up and we'll have meaningful innings this year. I just think, and not to cast a bad spell on our pitching staff, but I think we all know, like, it's a good staff, but it's not a great staff.
Yes.
And that's kind of the whole deal with the starters and relievers. Like, it's good. The relievers have been worse, but the whole thing hasn't been great. It's a little bit above average. I'd say, like, serviceable to above average guys. And I don't see why Burt couldn't come in and, pitch 3 innings every, 3 days. Maybe I'm being aggressive there, but just to shut down, like a 5, 6, 7 or 6, 7, 8, whatever it is. Kind of be like I guess a middle reliever, but kind of like a long reliever, whatever you want to call it. He has great stuff. You saw it in that one game he went 4. And even the start where he got rocked, he's 94 to 96 with a good changeup. He's got that curveball. He looks like he's settled there, composed. He looks like he has a great mental view about him. So, again, I think he'll get meaningful innings this year. Hopefully it's sooner than later.
Right, and kind of spawning off of something you had said earlier, is there any moves at the trade deadline that you think the Cubs should make in order to make that rotation from a good to a great, or not even necessarily just a rotation, but a good staff to a great staff? Is there any moves that the Cubs can make to solidify that?
I mean, I personally think when it's something from the pitching end, I just think it's one more reliever. I think it's one more reliever that you're looking at to specifically fill the 8th inning. 7th or 8th inning, not to have a recency bias, but I think Stroke he's starting to trend downhill a little bit. You see it with the velocity, you see it with the injuries. I don't know if he can be something you can totally count on, like he has been over his Cubs career, which has been awesome.
Right.
But I think reality's starting to set in. He doesn't have a fastball anymore. It's really just a bunch of sliders, and hopefully no one gets on base. We can do the quick pitching thing and stuff like that. But when people get on base, he's a different pitcher.
Yes, very much.
Which is tough. I think it's one more reliever. I don't see them going out and getting another starter. I just think there's too much invested in this staff, and I don't know if the starting pitching market is good enough. Like, are you going to go get Mad Bum?
Right.
I don't really see that happening. I really think, I know we talked about it last time I was on. Comes down to you, Darvish, and people might get scared about that. But again, if he can pitch like he pitched coming out of the break and when he pitched against the Dodgers, games like that. I mean, listen, if he's like that, he's the best pitcher on the staff.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I know people look at him as a 5 right now. He's got the best stuff in the staff by far, and if he can channel that and become more consistent and get up to that level, he's arguably the best pitcher you have. So I think that's what the Cubs are banking on, and then obviously banking on the consistency of the rest of the staff. The Lester, the Hamels will get back healthy. Kyle Hendricks get rolling again with the 2-seamer and the changeup. He's got to get out there. So it's not necessarily that I'm concerned about the starting staff or that I need them or that I feel they need to, make a big move for the rotation. It's just the reality of what the rotation is and what the pitching staff is. But I think we have enough here. If we get one more guy, we get Burton there, bring up a few other guys, I think they can hold it down pretty well.
I have a question that I know we probably would never thought we would ever have to say, and we were talking about it a little during the game today. Is Jason Hayward the MVP of the Cubs right now? He's consistently been probably the best hitter throughout this season. Consistently.
Listen.
I know Javi. I know there's Javi and there's KB and stuff. I'm just saying, for a guy that has had the contract and stuff, I think maybe he could be this year's MVP. Maybe.
I hear you. My thoughts on Jason Hayward, it makes me laugh just because, you know what? I feel I'm happy for the guy. He got his space back. It's good for him. It's good for him. I would be wrong if I didn't mention, he's getting pretty lucky this year. I mean, you just look at the numbers, you look at the peripherals, like, he's getting pretty lucky. The way he's hitting the ball and, you look at expected weight on base average, stuff like that, he's getting some luck in there, but good for him. I said it before when we talked that he could be around a weighted runs created plus around 115, 120 would be amazing. I don't know what specifically he is right now, but he's up there. I mean, I know he was like at 110 before the break, and, he's on this hot stretch. And I said if he was up there, we would take it. And, again, he's been a godsend. I never thought I'd say that. He's been a godsend for this team. Can I call him the MVP? No. Yeah, absolutely not.
I agree.
But, you know what? I appreciate you trying to stretch that out and see what you could get out of it. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate what he's doing, but I'm looking at it kind of from 30,000 feet up in there, kind of seeing what's actually going on. But you know what? He's been very important, and hopefully he keeps it going and continues this. People might get mad, but this lucky stretch, if you will.
I love it.
Good for him.
I love it. Me and Zach, I brought this question up to him on the golf course earlier today, and I don't know if you have any thoughts on it. Is there any chance we're going to see Ian Happ in the next coming weeks or by the end of the season? I mean, I know he's had some good games out at Iowa, but he's also his strikeout rate is still struggling mightily. But are we going to see Ian Happ here soon?
Dude, I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah.
I think he got a raw deal. He really did, because how do you come back from this?
Yeah.
Even going to be up in the big leagues this year? I mean, he's played over a full first half of games in my leagues. Like, he has to make a drastic trend, and I understand it's on him. Like, he's the player. Like, those are his stats. I understand that. But, I think kind of the move when they sent him down, I didn't think it was fair totally. I also didn't think they thought he'd be down this long.
Yeah.
I think they thought it would be like a couple weeks to a month.
Almost like Addison Russell. That kind of time frame.
It clearly hasn't. And I don't know how you come back from this. I mean, I think he'll be back in the big leagues eventually. I have no idea when it's going to happen, though, and how it's going to happen. I mean, that's a rough. He got a raw deal. I'm sorry, especially with some of the guys that are on this team.
Yes, like Daniel Descalso. Send him to the moon.
Yeah,
I'm tired of seeing Daniel Descalso go out there and try and maybe get a hit in every 10 at-bats, and we do have – and I know he's been around the club, but Ian Happ is sitting down at AAA. Like, I'd still rather see him there than Daniel Descalso give an attempt at it.
No, I hear you. But even like Almora, I mean, listen, I know I've been open about it, but, like, he should be in AAA. It's like, what are we talking about? Like, and I said it the last time I was on. I know I keep saying it, but the last time I was on, I went on about Albert Almora having this crazy ground ball rate, which guess what? He still has.
Yeah.
And guess what his exit velocity is? Like, bottom 3% of the league. Like, absolutely terrible. Like, there was no excuse. In 2019, which the way the balls are being hit out of the park, the balls are spun where there's no drag
like golf balls. How you keep hitting the ball on the ground, and specifically to the pitcher. It can't keep happening. I know I already went with this rant. Like, it's a joke. The fact that he's in the big leagues and Ian Happ isn't. I understand Ian Happ's hitting like 30 in Iowa right now. He has like a 7-something OPS. I get it. But the reality of it is he didn't get the raw deal, and Almora is kind of skating by like, you know, if it was me, he wouldn't be in the big leagues. He'd be sent down, and I would say that you are not coming back up here until you hit 5 fly balls in the air every single game. And you take a walk maybe one time. One time! All right? It just can't keep happening. Him, Russell, I don't know who's going to go into Russell. He shouldn't even be on the field. He's a defensive replacement. He should be in the 8th and 9th inning. Like, it's crazy. So I think there's a little bit of hypocrisy going on with our younger group, this second-tier group that we see that was a part of the young group, the young core, and then there's kind of the upper group, the Javi, Chris, Contreras, and then you have the bottom group of Addison, Russell, Almora, Ian Happ, and then in the middle, and I think he's going to get into that top group. I'm not holding out Kyle Schwarber. He's getting a raw deal with
best
the
leadoff hitter in the
year.
game, baby.
Dude, listen, I don't know if I can go that far, but I love the real interesting that he's getting a raw deal this year. He's expected to wait on base average. Is third best on the Cubs right now. He's just hitting just so much bad luck. I'm going to be stubborn about this. I don't think he's done. I was just listening to the radio. It's like every time everyone's talking about Schwarber's a bust, Schwarber's this, Schwarber's that. I'm not going to deny that he probably hasn't lived up to that expectation, but that doesn't mean he hasn't gotten a raw deal this year, and he hasn't gotten a raw deal in the past. I still think he can turn around this year and be a quality leadoff man, not even a quality leadoff man, but a quality producer, because when you look at the peripherals, that's what he's been this year. He's just hitting to way too many outs. He's barreled up balls way too many times to people, and it's gone right at him. So I'm not giving up on him.
No,
I know I just went on a tangent. From Ian Happ to Kyle Schwarber, but that's where I'm at right now.
Speaking of disrespect, Chris Bryant also gets a little bit of disrespect too on the radio. It's crazy. He's an all-star. He's one of the best hitters
he's a former MVP.
Former MVP, and he's getting disrespected on the radio a bunch. And it sometimes it makes you want to turn it off, but it's also one of those things. He hears it, and I think it just motivates him.
It's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
I don't understand it.
I've taken a stand. I've taken a strong stand, especially in the past years, about calling people out about it and this and that. And I'm not saying I'm this big deal or whatever, but now I'm just now it's not even worth my time. Now I just feel like they're trolling. The people that just don't put the effort to go online and look at one simple web page to kind of look at the stats themselves. People say he's not this, he's not that, he's a bust, he's in the down years, MVP, this and that, whatever. They're just not paying attention. They're just being lazy. And listen, he's arguably a top 10 to 15 player in the game. He's been that ever since he showed up in the big leagues. Even last year, he was hurt, and he was still a quality offensive player. He's a quality player in the big leagues, and he missed a bunch of time. It's a joke. That's all I gotta say. It's a joke, and for people that say otherwise, they're just lazy and they just don't care, and they're just doing this to get people riled up like me. So yeah.
Do you think that Robel Garcia? Do you think he could make a spot here on the Cubs going forward, and maybe hopefully making a playoff run as a utility player? Because we could use a second baseman who can hit, and he has proven that over his first few appearances here in the majors. So I would love to see a lot more of Robel Garcia.
Dude, I don't think he's a utility player. I think he's the starting second baseman.
Love it.
The only problem is that he strikes out a lot. But guess what? Everyone strikes out a lot.
It's Major League Baseball now.
2019, everyone strikes out. I mean, go look at his StatCast numbers, and I know he's played 4 or 5 games. Every single ball he's put in play, he's over 100 miles an hour. Every single one. He's already had 2 doubles, 2 bombs, he's had a triple, he's had a single, he's taken a couple walks. Yeah, I know he's striking out. He's striking out a lot. I get it, but it's better than what we got. It's much better. You want Daniel Council there?
God, no.
There? You want, I mean, listen, I like Bodie, but I think everyone's kind of shown that the high fastball he's working on, and I think he'll get there with it.
Yeah.
But the fastball in the upper third of the strike zone, he struggled with. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't like Robel Garcia. He barrels balls up, he hits them hard, and he hits them in the air. And he's pretty fast, and he plays decent defense, and he's pretty versatile. Why wouldn't you want him? And he's hungry. He's playing in the big leagues for the first time, 26 years old. He was in Italy for 4 years. Why wouldn't you want this guy? It's better than the entitled players, some of the entitled players we have on this team. I mean, come on. Why wouldn't you be rooting for this dude? I'm rooting for this guy like he's my kid. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Let's go. He's a second baseman. And I understand the strikeouts. I get it. Whatever. He played in Italy. Yada, yada, yada. The guy can play. And if you watch the games, he can absolutely play. He should be getting that bat. Probably the best time. He's probably the best time until I say otherwise. I know that's selfish. I know that might be condescending. I don't care. He can hit. That's the reality of it, and I'm standing by it. He should be playing every single game. Every single game, Joe. Every game.
We'll spread the word. I know he listens to the podcast, so we'll make sure it gets to Joe. But I think that right now where the Cubs sit, they're looking. Obviously, we're only 3 games into the second half, but I think if like we kind of talked about earlier, it seems like there's been a fire lit under some people's asses, and I think that's what they need. They got a little complacent there in the beginning. And now it's go time, and they came out and did what they were supposed to and saw the rest of the division kind of falter this weekend. Do you see this weekend being a kind of expansion in hope of, the things we saw this weekend that we're hoping to see throughout the rest of this regular season? Is this the turning point here right now?
I think the turning point's going to be when Joe and Theo absolutely put their foot down and hold players accountable and play the best players every single day. That's when I think this team is going to turn around. Because everyone knows, it doesn't matter if you're a player, if you're a person in the front office, you're a fan, you work at the front gate, whatever. Everyone knows who should be playing and who shouldn't be playing. It's that simple. Everyone knows that. And even the players know that. So, when you want to hold people accountable and you want to set the tone of what your organization stands for, then play the best players. Play the guys that actually care. Not saying there are guys on the team that don't care, but play the guys who are putting in the work, who are performing, who are doing it, who are showing up every day, and just producing. And honestly, the first half, they didn't do that. We all saw it. They wasted over 600 plate appearances with Carlos Gonzalez.
Yes.
Shot when he came in. Daniel Descalso. Listen, going back to Daniel Descalso, I probably would have signed him too.
Yeah.
But I probably would have seen early on that this wasn't going to work, and they kept running him out there. Having Mark Segunis at the start of the year, I mean, what was that? I mean, seriously?
Career 4A player right there.
But, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Albert Almora, for as long as they played him, all this stuff. I don't want to beat a dead horse, and it's one of the reasons why I didn't make a video going in the second half. But you have to play the best players every single day. There's just no excuse for it. It's like you pitch the best 5 starters in your rotation every time, right?
Exactly.
And I understand it's 162 games. I get it. Guys need rest. I understand it. But, let's go.
Dude, I'm with you. I think, if you look at other sports.
You know what I mean?
If you look at other sports, like in football, if your guys are healthy, they play, right? Like, you don't just keep guys out for the sake of giving someone else a shot. If you watch the Bulls and their guys are healthy, like, their best players are going to be on the court, not giving somebody else just a random shot. Like, get the best dudes out there that give you a chance to win, because no one else in this division has shown me that they really want it. Like, Milwaukee's faltering, St. Louis is bad. I mean, no one really wants it. Like, it's out there for the taking.
The best one's Cincinnati. They're the second best team in the division.
Yeah. So now you got to be hungry and strike. Like, this is the time now. Like, get the best ones out there and give yourself a chance.
Listen, I don't want to sound like Mr. Meatball. I don't want to come off. I don't want to come across this way. I really don't. But the reality of it is that the Cubs always talk about depth. They always talk about we need to be deep. We need to have 12 to 13 goals. We'll come in and play every day. Yada yada yada. But guess what? And I respect Theo, Jed, everyone. But guess what? In the postseason, you don't need that.
Exactly.
You don't need that. It's the best 9 every single guy. It's the best 9 every single game. Every single game. I'm sorry. It's every single game, and there's no reason why this season should be any different. I understand it's a regular season, but you said it from the beginning. You said it in March. Every game matters. October starts in March. Yada, 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 yada. They don't run these trash lineups out every single game. I'm sick of it. You need the best players. You need the best lineups in the best order, and let's go get it done because we haven't done it this year. We haven't. The first half was not like that. I understand some players underperformed, but there are a lot of guys who are sitting on the bench in big spots, in big moments where they could have gotten the job done. And guess what? We have guys up there who haven't earned it.
Yep.
Who haven't earned it, and frankly haven't been great, great contributors to the organization as a whole for many years now. Addison Russell, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. You can't tell me morale is high with him being in there, just getting his spot. Everyone walking in. These guys are big leaguers, man. These guys are competitors. Oh, Addison just walks in. Let's let him play every 4 times a week. Yeah, just give him. He's Addison Russell. Let him. Well, second base. Yep, it's his job. Yep, totally. Because that's how human beings are. That's how competitors are. That's how people who make a living playing in the big league. That's how they are. They just concede and just let someone walk right over them who doesn't deserve it. Please. That's where I'm looking at this and saying, if the Cubs really want to turn this thing around, play the best players every single game. I understand you need to have times where you sit out, you need to take a break. But you know what? You're in a competitive window with an old pitching staff with a ton of pressure, in a huge market with a huge payroll, all that stuff. Go show it. Give us your best 9 and let's do it.
What do you think of Joe Madden? I know he makes his lineups like days and days in advance. Is that normal for coaches, or do you think that he should look at it day to day and make a lineup, like you said, around the best 9?
Well, I think part of it was when Theo came out in his end of the year press conference last year. He was like, I think it might not be conducive for guys to find out they're playing, the day of or whatever. And it might be easier if they can plan out beforehand, so players know they're playing. It might be easier. I understand. I understand that thinking, but things change when you're playing in the big leagues and you are, 4 games over 500 going into the All-Star break. Things should change. Things should change when you split the series with the White Sox, when you can't get it done, you've been inconsistent, all that type of stuff. That's where my head goes, where it's all fine and dandy if you're winning that way, but we're not winning that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to put the lineup, a week in advance, it clearly wasn't working. So it's not to blame it all on Joe, but it's like, dude, you got to play the hand you're dealt. You know what I'm saying? If you only got 9 guys who are going to play this year, then you only got 9 guys. You only got 10 guys. You only got 10 guys. This isn't 2016 where 13 dudes that could go in there and start every game. It's just not. So they have to, again, look at it a little bit differently, and the rant I just went on, start reevaluating things and start being honest with the guys we have, and that's what I think. That's what I think it comes down to.
Fred,
be honest with the guys you got, and you know what? If you cut some ties and you're going to make a couple guys mad, so be it. They've had their time. They've played well. If the peripheral numbers don't match up and it's just not there, which there are plenty of dudes on this team that's the case, where it not only is production out there, the peripherals aren't there, they don't need the ball hard, there's too much on the ground. Nothing tells you that going forward they're going to do well. So then cut time and let's play the best players and let's go about it that way and see where it takes.
Do the Cubs have to go to a World Series for Joe to keep his job next year?
Probably say at least the NCS.
Yeah.
I personally don't see. I mean, listen, it's not a great If he doesn't come back, that means the Cubs don't do well. And I'm not put on the season this early, obviously. But to your question, yes. If he doesn't, if they don't go far, I don't see him. I don't see there being any chance that he comes back. But I thought that since last year.
Yeah.
I thought that since like the beginning of last year, when I was hearing things about just I don't want to say a relationship, but just kind of, the second guessing behind closed doors.
Yeah.
This and that, that's why I think that, again, I'm not going to pawn this season. We're in first place. We just had a great weekend. We're incredibly talented. All this stuff. Hopefully it plays out for him, and I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for him.
Definitely.
But I think there's things he can improve on, like we all can. Like everyone on the team can. I'm rooting for him, but I think there's things he needs to get better at, and hopefully he does, so he does stay around in the future.
Absolutely. I agree. I think we're all rooting for him, rooting for the Cubs. Like I said, we here at the end of the show, we're going to do our MLB playoff predictions that are way too early. And of course, we picked the Cubs, but man, there's some damn good teams out there, and I think the Cubs just have to, sharpen things up and get to the point where you're playing your best ball late in the season, and it'll be, because we even talked about it, the Dodgers are loaded, the Yankees are so good, the Astros. There's just so many teams right now. The Braves picking up Keuchel. There's teams that are getting ready to make their playoff run, and now it's the Cubs' time. Like if you want to compete with the big dogs, you gotta turn things on right now, and it's going to be an interesting 2.5, 3-ish months to see where things go. So I'm excited.
Totally, for sure.
Well, Fred, thanks so much, man. We really appreciate you coming on. Like we said, fourth time, man. We appreciate. We're gonna. I'll shoot you a text later. We'll get you a T-shirt set up. But
I'll do the same. We're going to get you something.
We love it, man. And I haven't turned my white T-shirt pink yet, so I'm still good on that. I made sure I very carefully washed it. But everyone, make sure you go follow Fred at Dom_Frederic if you're needing to keep your sanity, keep your morale high throughout the year, and just have someone keep it real with you. Make sure you follow Dom Frederic on Twitter. Fred, again, my man, thanks so much for joining us here tonight.
Yeah, thanks again, guys. It's always fun. You guys do a great job, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, we appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you soon. As usual, Fred killed it. Thanks so much to Fred and Nick for coming on. Get a little bit of crosstown talk there on the north and the south sider. So it's great to have both of those guys on. And it'll just be interesting to see where both teams go in the second half of the year. I'm excited. And the Cubs about to finish up a sweep of the Pirates to finish things up here for the weekend. So, yeah, it was great to have both those guys on and pick their brains because they're definitely smarter than we are.
Yeah, they're definitely smarter than we are with the whole, especially stats-wise. I'm not the best with the stats. I like the eye test.
Yeah,
my thing is the eye
you're
test.
an eye test guy.
I'm an eye test type of guy. But, yeah, great having those guys on here. We wanted to have them on here because All-Star break, a little bit of a lull in the baseball season, and we want to get two of the guys that we know are the best at what they do, covering the Cubs, covering the Sox. So we want to have those guys on here. We're going to have them maybe before the playoffs here. We'll do another thing. I think these guys back-to-back are good because you get a perspective from both sides of town. And like we said, we are typical Chicago fans. So we got Chicago fans here. So, yeah, great interviews by those guys, and we're going to have them on plenty of more times. But, again, thank you guys for coming on here. We like I said, we love listening. We check you guys out on Twitter to see what – we check you guys out on Twitter to see what you guys – to know what's going on, the deep stats, the real shit we need to know about it other than, I like to see those guys hit home runs and score runs and know all their names and stuff. They throw out stats that help us on here on the podcast, so that's why we want to have those guys on here. They help us out, so we help them out. We love those guys. So
those are our guys.
But let's get into our little segment here. Like I said, it's the All-Star break. Technically, second half started, I guess, before the All-Star break. But
I'm not hearing any of that. I don't need to hear that.
We're going to do TCF predicts the MLB playoffs. We're going to predict who.
Way too early prediction.
Early prediction, but not really. Not really way too early. So we're going to see.
August.
We're going to name off who we're going to think wins each division, wild card game. Maybe we'll get into playoff spots, but first we're going to go.
I also like that I said it's almost August. We're not even halfway through July.
Yeah, but months go pretty quick.
Yeah,
here,
they do.
But I'll go into I'll do the AL first.
All right, let's hear it.
AL East, the Yankees.
You think so too?
They're dominant. You got the same thing?
Yeah, I got the Yankees too.
And then AL Central Twins. I think that's pretty simple. I don't think anyone's going to make a run at them. The AL West, Astros. I think they're dominant. And then the wild card game, I have the Red Sox versus the Rays.
Ooh.
I think that's going to be how it plays out. I think the Red Sox are going to take off and take over the number 1 spot. I think the Rays are a good team. But it's weird, though. Like, even when they're a good team, though, they still can't fill that place. And I don't get it. Yeah. I guess maybe because it's beautiful outside.
Yeah.
But I think a nice little playoff run by the Rays would be exciting for Tampa.
Mine is very similar to yours, except for the fact I have 2 things flip-flopped. I actually have Cleveland coming back and winning that division.
That would be insane. I don't think that's going to happen.
I'm not 100% like I think this is going to happen, but I like just knowing their pedigree and Minnesota having not been there in so long, I think Cleveland's going to come back and give the Twins a run for their money in that division. That would make my wild card game Tampa Bay and the Twins knocking Boston out of the playoffs, which I wouldn't mind seeing. I just don't know if Boston has that sense of urgency right now. Like, you felt like at the beginning of the year, yes, this team just won the World Series. They're going to be able to figure it out, and they just haven't, right? Yeah. They haven't been able to put a streak together to get them back. And I know the Yankees are mashing right now. The Yankees are a very good team. But I just – They haven't given it to me yet to make me think that, like, this team's going to the playoffs.
I'm going to wait till the end until we get both of them, but I want to also do who you think is going to come out of each one.
Okay.
I'll go with the NL. I have the NL East, the Braves.
Okay.
I think they look good. They got some young talent there. Dallas Keuchel, huge signing over there, so I think that's going to be NL Central. Cubs.
Yep.
I think they're going to take off here. Like I said, hopefully they take the sweep today. I think they're going to go on a run here. I think they need a little bit of a break, and I think they're going to come together here after the All-Star break and show that they are the best team in the league right now. The NL West.
It's a no-brainer.
I think is the Dodgers, who I guess I sit here and say the Cubs are the best team. I think the Dodgers are the best team in the NL.
The rest of that division is
I get that, but they're still a very good team. Very good team.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but, like, they have, like, a 9-game lead right now. Like, the rest of the division is ass.
I just mean the NL overall. I think they're the best team right now.
I don't know. If I got to play the Diamondbacks and the Giants combined 38 times a year, I'd be pretty happy about it.
Yeah, but if you look at the Cubs, too, they're playing teams that are still – I mean, the Pirates, the Reds –
they're still better than the Diamondbacks and the Giants.
And they're losing.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get mad at who you play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can even look back at like a Lucas Giolito. He plays the Royals, the Tigers a bunch. I mean, you play who you play, and you win against who you win. So I still think on paper the Dodgers are the best team in the NL. In the wild card game, I got the Rockies and the Philadelphia Phillies.
Okay,
I think it'd be very disappointing if the Philadelphia Phillies do not make the playoffs in the first year of a huge title. Yes. It's already disappointing that he didn't make the All-Star game, but I'm not that big of an all-star game guy. I'm not putting a lot of stock in that. It's what you can do in the big moments, and I think Bryce Harper still has that big moment feel to him. But I think they got to make that wild card spot.
All right, and ours aren't terribly unsimilar here, because I actually I think that going off of what you just said, I think Bryce Harper is bound to come out of it, and he's not hitting terribly, but he's not been Bryce Harper this year, and I think he's going to spark something. I think Philadelphia is going to catch the Braves in the East, going to knock them to a playoff game. The Cubs are going to win the Central. The Dodgers are going to win the West. So in my wild card, I have the Brewers and the Braves. And I just feel like we've been waiting. What are we now, like 4 months into the season, 5 months into the season? We're like just waiting on Bryce Harper to remember that he's Bryce Harper, and he's going to spark something in those guys. Now, obviously losing, was it Herrera?
Yeah.
For the rest of the season
that
and
hurts. The playoffs.
Yes, that hurts a lot. But if you're going to do that kind of stuff, you're kind of a shitbag anyway. So it's hard. You don't feel bad for him. But I think we're going to see the Braves and the Brewers in the wild card game. The Braves are going to beat the Brewers and move on.
Let's do that. Who do you think's going to – I think – if I have this, I have the Rockies beating the Phillies.
Okay.
And I have the Red Sox beating the Rays.
Okay. I have the Twins beating Tampa Bay, and then I have the Braves beating the Brewers.
So who do you think is going to come out of the AL?
The AL, I think the Yankees are the best team in the league. They just hit so well. I think their pitching has been really solid. I know They probably don't have the best rotation in the American League, but they're up there, and they just mash.
And
like, they score so many runs.
That's why I'm going to take the Astros, because I think they do have probably the best rotation in the AL. And it's a team that's been there, done that. And I know the Yankees have, but it's been a little while, and some of those guys aren't used to the playoffs, and I just think the Astros are dominant.
And obviously we both think the Cubs are going to, put something together, but like we both alluded to it, like the Dodgers
I think
are
Dodgers
so
are going to be
good.
tough. The Braves are a good team, and I mean, like I said, the Rockies or Phillies, you let them in there, they got a good lineup.
Anybody. It could go any
But
way.
yeah, like I said, I think the Cubs are going to come out of the NL. Maybe a little biased there, but I do
But if
think,
it's not the Cubs, it's going to be the Dodgers.
I really do think if the Cubs come in healthy rotation, they got Yu Darvish cooking. He just had his best start.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're not going to get too much Cubs talk because we're going to get into it with Frederic and stuff. But he just hit
John
off his
Lester
best
yesterday,
start. Cole Hamels, yes, it sucks. He's hurt, but he's getting a little bit of time off throughout the season. I know you don't want to see him on the IL, but it doesn't seem like it's too bad of an injury.
And especially with a vet, you don't like.
And he's going to give him a few starts off that could help him a little bit. John Lester looking good. And Jose Quintana gave up 3 runs today, but he worked. He kept it moving. This offense, if this offense can do what it's been doing the last 3 days, these pitchers, if you get into a little bit of a rut, 3 or 4 runs, they should still get at least a chance at the win. Exactly. So I think if you really look over, and you got,
and I think they're going to go get
Craig
some
Kimbrell.
bullpen help too.
I mean, at that you got Craig Kimbrell, Pedro Strop, Cishek. That's a tough one. Kinsler's looking good. So I think the Cubs are looking good, and maybe they're going to be. I think they will be contenders for some moves. Maybe here, because with the way the MLB is now, I think you have to, and let's go.
Cubs win.
Robel Garcia made that last out there at second base. I think he is going to be a big part of this second half, and I think he has to be. Not going to go on a rant about it because I think Frederic will probably go on a rant about it later. But I'm excited about that. But
definitely
excited to talk to our guy here, Frederic. He said we're going to be doing that later on. But we already know it's going to be a great interview. Yeah. This guy's he's the best of the Cubs for us. And like I said, we've been here with us day one. We love what he puts out there.
He was with us when we were independent.
Yeah, we were on the old SoundCloud.
Yeah.
So shout out that. But
we should have put out a rap album on there.
That's we think it'll be. So I think Astros, Cubs. You think?
I think Yankees, Cubs.
But it could also, like I said, the National League is pretty wide open.
Yeah.
But not really though. It's the Dodgers, Braves, Cubs, and then it's a lot. Yeah, they do. But it's also. This is nice, though. A nice little sweep here is what the Cubs need. I'm sorry to get into that. But like I said, second half of baseball, it's going to be exciting. Then you're going to have some football put on top of it with the Bears going to be exciting to watch here. It's got an exciting few months. We kind of went through a little bit of a lull there with the All-Star break, but we got the baseball season cooking up. The NFL will be cooking up with training camp starting soon for a lot of teams, from all teams, I guess. And we got you got it here. We forgot to talk about this. We are going to Minnesota. Yes. We're leaving Friday morning. We're driving up to Minnesota. Well, I guess I will be riding up to Minnesota. Me, Boomy, and his brother Trey, maybe, are going to the Minnesota Twins game. I was going to ask you this. Have you never been there?
I've been to the old stadium. I have not been to Target Field.
I thought that was kind of cool. I was wondering why we wanted to go to Minnesota, but now I kind of get it because
it's one of my 6.
Boomy over here has gone to pretty much all of the parks. I guess, would you say all the parks built in the least... it was about 10 years or so.
I have 6 active ones left, and I probably went to 4 or 5 that no longer exist anymore. Okay, it's probably more than that. So probably 8 or 9.
They'll knock one off. It'll be fun.
I think after this trip at the end of July, I'll put me over
handheld thing. We're gonna be doing some cool content with that. We got a whole 7-hour trip up there probably. So we'll be annoying you on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and stuff. But check it out. We're gonna be doing a TCF little trip here. We're excited about that. We will catch you guys next week. Again, you can follow me at ZLilja, LILJATCF. It's right above my head if you're on the YouTube page. At typical_Chicago, the main page, at The Loop Sports on Twitter. That's also in the middle now. If you're watching this and you have any other ideas that you want us to put out here, we already have some other ones. We should probably put our logo on here. Yep. But if you're into this kind of stuff, let us know what we can do, some cool stuff we can do with that. The Instagram, Typical Chicago Fans, The Loop Sports. Facebook, we do a weekday show. We will probably be doing a weekday show Friday or Saturday from Minnesota. So that'll be exciting there. That's Typical Chicago Fans Facebook. And then the Loop Sports usually shares it. And they have all the blogs and stuff that we put up on their Facebook.
Definitely. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at BoomyTCF. If you're on Apple user, you can find us on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. Yeah, exactly. If you're not an Apple user, you can find us on Spotify. Make sure you follow and download your episodes there. And like Zach said, head on over to the YouTube page to find all of our old videos. Go back. There's some pure comedy gold in some of those old original
We had
episodes.
no idea what we were doing on some of those.
It is
We look
cool.
idiots.
Like, go watch the first one and then go watch the most recent one and see how the cave has changed in the last.
And also, we used to do a
16
lot
months.
more drinking during those, but then we realized there was one episode where we were drinking a little bit before, and we had a whole thing set up, and I totally forgot what it was.
Yeah.
I just blanked.
Yep.
And I got thinking to myself, I'm like, maybe we should wait till after the show to
Yeah.
get drinking too much. Not have a beer or two, but it used to just be like a party when we did
It
our
was.
show.
It was.
But now we're straight business now. We get down to business.
All business, guys.
And we're all business.
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks again to Nick and Fred for coming on the podcast.
Big episode,
Yes.
the biggest I think we've maybe had. We
loaded.
got some big hitters on here. Like I said, go check out. We're going to be going on a little bit of a trip, so we'll be documenting that through Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We're going to do some really fun stuff with that.
Absolutely.
We love you all.
Peace.